Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to pYanodon's, or Factorio? What are we calling this whole thing? Factorio pYanodon's Season 3, or something like that. In this episode, we are going to be doing things and stuff to the base, as usual. I don't even know this. How's Cole doing? Cole seems to be doing fine. I feel like there's so many random things to my base I haven't looked at in like 100 hours. Like, is moss keeping up still, or is it not? I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, these aren't getting stone. That doesn't make any sense. Is there a broken belt somewhere in here? Oh, it's got gravel on it. Oh, well, that's gonna cause some problems. Okay. See, this is why we look at random things. Looking at random things shows you random problems. And I would not have seen that problem for a very long time if I hadn't looked over there. Look at that. Alright, don't get hit by trains. Pick up the belt here. Let's see, that has sulfur. I don't even know what happened, really. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. It's all sulfur. Okay, are we fixed? Maybe? Yeah, I didn't see anything other than stone there. Okay, and then that'll get all those running. They still need... Oh, wait, no, there's a third. They also still need, whatchamacallit? Module 2s. Did I ever do Moss Mark 2? I did, right? I think I did. Upmarking. Yeah, there. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I forgot about these for so long, but let's, oh, we already did them on this. Wait. Didn't do them here. We did them on this row. And if I want, I could do them on these rows and maybe upgrade the belts or something. I don't know. Let's start with those changes, because that alone, just fixing these bottom ones plus doubling these 8, that should make a somewhat significant improvement in the moss. The other thing... Wow, they really do look like ants running around. I think it's because the color makes them look more ant-like. Hot air's still struggling. Hot air is closing in on 20,000 or 200,000. Because this is 548 and this is 570. Which is only 22 away. Alright, well, we'll see if 22 gets to something smaller than 22 by the end of the episode. And is there anything else I need to focus on? Science is running with vat brains right now. Vat brains themselves are not running because of brains. Augs are not running because of Aug pups. Aug pups are not running because of moss. But moss is there. I'm confused. Oh. I didn't realize the rates on these required so much, so many items. Wow. We need 3.33 items per second. And that's not even with the tier 2 repro complex. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a change there. All right. So that should help a little bit. And anything else we need to do? I could make subcritical water with hot air, but I'm a little bit out of hot air at the moment. Though the amount of hot air I would need is tiny. So it could be worth it still, rather than wasting biomass. Like if I look at subcritical over the course of 10 hours, I've needed an average of 10 a second. So that's not very much hot air. That's only 15 hot air, but I can't handle 15 hot air a second right now. I really want this recipe. But it's just really far away, which is a bummer. The hot air one is definitely good as soon as I have the next recipe for hot air. Because then it'll be a much smaller impact. Okay, and then the flora is going to need to be a red belt at some point. Because these are overloaded. So why don't we won't do the belt upgrade for that just yet. But I think that's going to be the primary slowdown. Because that's only 22.5 flora. And then belt stacking, obviously we can upgrade. Da, 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 da. Yeah, stacking. So that'll be nice. As a generic boost, but what else do we need? What's this? Oleochem plus sulfuric heavy oil. Grease, xylenol, kerosene. I don't need those yet. Additives can get me to like titanium 3, plastics 3. The lead processing and silver stage 2. Chromium, aluminum, basically all of the processings. And then the alloy smelting. So this is the main one that we really want to get more of that iron niobium, as well as better tin chromium and nichrome. So that will be really helpful. We want worker robot speed. We want new tiles at some point. I don't know. There's just a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline here. A lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. A lot of turds I haven't even looked into, like the incubator upgrade. I'm gonna queue that up just because it's so cheap. As well as the data array. Those are from Green Science tier. Okay, so I said I was gonna set up excavation because we're about to unlock that. So wait, no we're not. Oh, I already did. Cool. All right. I was like, wait, no, I'm not unlocking it. Did we get optical fiber yet? I mean, clearly not. But I did request it. Do we really not have enough for that request? It must have just gotten taken somewhere. Alright, we're making like 35 a minute. But we should get there eventually. Assuming the trits can keep up, which they probably can't. Goodness. What a crazy world. Okay, anyway, what I'm actually working on is auto mall, and we will add another machine here, sand extractor. I'll do 3. And they are very affordable. And then I don't think we need to do anything else. And now we need to provide iron sticks to certain places. I guess we're gonna get to redo this once we have iron sticks available. We can just bring those in via train. I'll probably make this bigger and increase the stack threshold on a lot of things for this. Like iron can be a 40 stack. The sticks can be a 40. Well, will I even need iron? You know what? I won't need iron. I can just replace iron with sticks. Now, bolts are interesting. Should I... Did we decide if we wanted to cast bolts? I don't think casting bolts is really worth it. Because if we... Wait. This is comparing to plates. What if we cast the sticks? So casting bolts compared to casting sticks for the same number of bolts. Casting the bolts is better. Interesting. Okay, well that's a good argument then. We should cast both. Because the bolts are slightly less iron somehow. I don't really understand that. But they are. As well as quite a bit less hot air, less taxing on the casting units, and less borax and castings themselves. So yeah, I guess that's a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, so that means we do need bolts. Did I set that up? I did. Okay. Okay, so the borax is ready to go with these. The hot air is not ready to go yet. Because we're still waiting for hot air to catch up. And then all the moltens are not ready to go. And then the advanced castings themselves, I think are ready to go, right? Yes. No, we don't have wax yet. Oh, did I screw this up? Yeah. I connected to the wrong thing. Oh, yeah, that just needs to go over. There we go. No! That was correct! What am I doing? Wax is supposed to be this one. There we go. Okay. How did this end up in the trash? Oh, because I changed the recipe, I guess. Yeah, probably. Alright, but that should be good, and then that will be advanced castings. I'll have construction bots come take that, otherwise it'll cause issues. And advanced castings are good to roll as soon as we finish the research. And as soon as we finish the research, these will be good to roll once they have hot air and the moltens. So I guess we need to start getting the moltens finished. Anyway, let's set up excavation first. We got other stuff to do. So Okay, Krydax, riddle me this. Why are we requesting lamps and ash? Is that for a future recipe? That's got to be for a future recipe. Because otherwise I have no idea what that's doing. And we'll throw in iron stick. 25 stacks. Filter on, iron stick. And yeah, I mean, this is where we do the sand extractor. Up here. And it does have a output doodad. And we literally just extract coarse fractions. Couldn't be easier. It's about as simple as it gets. And I can delete all this. You know what? Nope, I'm gonna go delete that myself because that is way too many construction bots for that crap. And then the other main place I need it is for Tufra, actually. I need it far more over here. So we're gonna need a requester on iron stick here. I'll do 28. I find it hard to believe that we're still struggling with trains. Still must not have replaced all of them. Feels like we have enough. Alright, here's 2 more. Boop. And boop, boop. We'll just keep replacing them until we run out of the crappy ones to replace. Alright, now we gotta get rid of all this. This is all trash. Yeah, that too. Crazy. Alright. Sweet! Okay, and that'll be coarse fractions. 1.42 a second. We don't even need close to that amount yet, and we can still speed this up. Tier 2ify it. We can even prod it. Is that needed? I mean, that remains to be seen if that's going to be necessary or not. How long would that take to pay for itself? You know, like, how expensive is one productivity module? It's hard to know, but it probably adds up to a lot of iron. I don't know, man. It's a lot of resources that go into one module. Is it really going to save me enough sticks over the course of time? I need to not think that way. That's an unhelpful way to think, I think. Oh, wow. Trains are really hurting. I probably just need a couple more train stations, but I wanna upgrade all the trains I have first. Like, here's a still original, there's an original. Oh, that's a fluid one, I guess. I'm not as worried about fluids, those don't seem to be having issues very often. There's at least still a few of the regular cargo trains we need to get rid of. But yeah, anyway, as soon as that has sticks, we'll be good to go. Oh, you know what? I might not be providing sticks at all. I just realized that. Well, that should be okay. That means we won't get any Renea again until we're done with casting. That's fine. I don't think we really even need Renea right now, except for those energy drinks. And now we want to go fix Tufra. We'll go do that. Another thing, was it Cosbot Gravy? Someone was asking if neuroprocessors are a big part of the brain cost. And they are. I mean, it's 2.5 brains per neuroprocessor, though with our productivity, it's closer to 1 brain per, so it's not like a huge amount of brains, but it definitely adds up. Definitely adds up. Currently, it's what we're out of. But we'll only need a few thousand more brains to finish buffering all this, so it's not like a crazy amount. Which way am I going? Towards the 2. Ah! Ooh, almost got ran over. I guess a big part of the train issue is my delivery amounts, more so than anything else. You know, we need to deliver 40 stacks at a time rather than less than that. Okay, so this is currently fertilizer. So this can have iron sticks. Alright. And that'll come over here. And then how much course fraction is all of this producing? I don't even know. 2.8. So 2 sand extractors. That's all I need. Oh, man. This is so nice. And I won't need any of this crap. I will have to wait again until we actually have iron sticks, which I don't love. It's a whole research away. Oh, and research is dead? Uh-oh. Or no, Vat Brains ran out. Yeah, Vat Brains ran out, but research is still not dead. How are we doing? Pi 2 is the limiter right now, it seems. Seems like we had a little gap for a second there, but in the last hour we've been producing 34 a minute. What's the amount we're supposed to be getting? 52 a minute? Okay. I wonder what we're running out of. 400 moss. How much moss are we eating here? These are eating 18 moss a second by themselves. That's certainly part of the issue. 74. You know what I might do? Mission control. Major Tom. Bring 40 stacks of moss at a time, please. And we'll unload that a little faster. Yeah. Slightly help. And this is only going to get 15 items a second, which is not actually enough moss for these to run constantly. So that means I need stacked moss. I can't even do right here without screwing things up. Interesting. I also have no substrate. I'm out of substrate. So we got 2 problems. Okay, why am I out of substrate? Is that the petri dish issue? Dish issue? Sure. Petri dishes. Making substrate. This desperately needs a rebuild someday with probably beacons and productivity modules and stuff. Because I can prod this recipe. So that feels, especially once I have 20% prod, that's a pretty huge boost. Do I have microorganism mines tier 2 already? I do. Yeah. Feels like getting all this beaconed and productivity is gonna be pretty nice. For now, what I might do is try to shove a few modules in to fix things up. I'll shove modules into the 4 closest ones. Plus 2 more. And we'll see if that helps our substrate issues. And then, yeah, I mean, we can go and find... I don't know where our substrate build actually is. I just need to make a new one. It was probably in the original Pi2 Science one. Maybe. Or was it in... Yeah, here. Yeah, this was my build. Or roughly my build. So let's make a similar version. Oop. Yeah, that's not the way to make such a... And then this one will go to 15 a second, but on all of the productivity versions. I still think the fiber one is actually decent later. When do I unlock that? Oh, we actually unlock it soon. Because don't I have roughly the same ability to make fiber now as wood? Like, this feels sort of bad when we look at it, but fiber's getting cheaper these days. And if I look at the actual, like, how does this play out in terms of kickout? If I look at kickout 3, we're only looking at 8.3. Again, tier 2 buildings, tier 2 modules. We're only looking at 2 buildings for that amount of kickout. Though the seeds mess with that a little bit. It probably needs to be like more than 30% or something. Wait, 50? Sure. 145. Okay, close enough. So it's something like that versus the wood. First of all, we need props. So something like that versus something like this. Obviously, it needs a lot more hydroxide, and it needs more biofactories compared to less pulp mills, which are also smaller. So that's a bonus on that end. But the actual wood comes from some logs here, 1.2 logs, and we're doing the muddy sludge, CO2, ash, carbon dioxide. We're doing all of the things, and that only needs 0.5. When I look at it that way, the fiber one becomes less attractive again. This is, I mean, the main issue is the seedlings. That's only 1.5 tier 2 botanical nurseries, and if they're affected by a beacon... Oh, we can't module it yet. Yeah, Helmod's gonna fix that eventually, but it's not fixed yet. Yeah. Yeah, this one's tricky. Because the fiber's better on the cellulose end, which is kind of a big improvement. Because we can just make a bigger kickout build. The actual cost of the kickout is pretty insignificant. It's actually cheaper than the wood. in terms of ash and CO2, it does add a small amount of fertilizer and lamp, but that's pretty insignificant. And then, you know, most of the processing of the fiber is being done externally, and then we need to ship in a smaller amount of fiber, a smaller amount of hydroxide to a smaller number of buildings to make the cellulose we need. So I actually think that that cellulose recipe is the one I'm going to be using. Because a pulp mill, you know, also again, comparing, a pulp mill is way smaller. You know, like 3 pulp mills compared to 7 biofactories. Like, this is way nicer than this. And the amount of items we need per second is lower by quite a lot. You know, we're talking 15 a second wood versus 5 a second fiber. And it's about triple the hydroxide, or double, 2.5 times the hydroxide. So I actually do think we want to switch to this type of fiber. And we'll just continue growing our kickalc to meet the need. Oh, but the other question was, what if we made fiber from wood? That's right. That's always the other question. Is that more efficient than kickalc? That's the question that I never really know the answer to. Feels like we've gone back and forth on this 100 times. You do need a lot of WPUs, but if we beacon properly... Why can't I... What? Can you not beacon these? Oh, I don't think you can beacon them, actually. Did we find that out? We might have found that out. Or can you? I don't remember. Let's find out. Wood processing unit. Effect receiver prototype. Uses beacon effects. True. Allowed effects. Consumption false. Speed true. Productivity true. Quality. I think it works with beacons. I can find out pretty easily if I just... Where's the nearest one? Just north. Just to the north. Ha, moondrops. There's some I haven't touched in a while. I wonder if we're making enough still. Alright. Can these be affected by beacons? The answer is... no. Okay, so where would I see that? Because it says... allowed effects true, uses beacon effects true. If anyone knows where I would have found that they can't be affected by beacons, let me know in the prototype explorer, whatever this thing is called, because I feel like we should have been able to see that somehow. Well, maybe it's this. Maybe that's what's happening. Consumption, speed, prod, pollution, quality is all 0. Like, what if we look at a regular building for those? There's just so many things you have to look at here. No, because that has 0 for all of them. And this one does allow beacons, I assume. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where we would have seen in the prototype explorer that this can't be affected by beacons. Because there's a true on the uses beacon effects. There's... yeah, I don't know where else I would look. Allowed module categories is only saw blade. I guess that could be it. Maybe that's it. But that's modules that go in the building. Is that just true in general? That buildings can only be affected by modules that can go inside of themselves? Did we already discover that in a different episode regarding particle accelerators? I think we did. I think we did. So I think that's what's going on. If we had beacons that could have saw blades, they would work on this building. If we could put saw blades in a beacon. But, let me guess, we can't. Yep. Alright, so anyway, that's besides the point. The important part is we got mining machines done. So what was the first, like, tier 2 building we really needed here? Because these are expensive AF, so I want to be careful. What did we really need prod on? First of all, wood processing units are good to go now, so we can get more wood and fiber and stuff like that. Separators, soil extractors, screeners, olefin plants, methanol, gasifiers, FTS reactors, glassworks to get more efficient. Well, they're not more efficient, but they can put more efficiency modules in them. Crystal mines. Oh, factories. That's what we need. Automated factories. Hey, we also got the research centers. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Yes. Come to Papa. All right. This is gonna be an expensive episode. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna spend all the resources. I'm scared. This is gonna spend all of my resources. Alright, we're gonna do 4 on a consistent basis. I don't know how many we have in here. 15. Okay, that's plenty. So, these are pretty pricey. But it's not crazy. Like, building 10 of these is, you know, it's expensive, but it's affordable. So, I'm not gonna freak out about it. I'm gonna try not to freak out about it. The research centers, on the other hand, are very pricey. 100 optical fiber, 80 circuits, 25 neural processors. But at the same time, we get 10% more productivity on all of our research by replacing them. So let's just bite the bullet. Let's just go for it. Where are they? We'll start with Pi2 and ChemSci. And I think it's cheaper, at least for now. Just gonna do this. No, hold on. No, I want to go manually with that. There's so many random items that would just get wasted if I do it that way. I'm just gonna use a beacon to speed up the slower ones. I need to get more coffee. All right. And then, yeah, nothing over here needs to change. But yeah, I'm just gonna remove these 3, because what are we actually set up for? I don't know. We might need to add more back. I don't really know what I'm doing. But if I upgrade these... Oh, those were already upgraded. Oops. So I upgrade those. Then we need a beacon set on something. I don't even know. We'll call it 4-2. I don't know where this is all going to land, but I assume that's going to be fast enough for what we need. And then prod modules. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's beautiful. crafting speed is 4.8 on top of having a bonus 20% productivity. Good gracious. We don't have enough cotton butts. We'll work on tier 2 cotton butts eventually. That'll be part of what we need. Where are the cotton butts coming from? We're at 210 out of 250, so I can bump up the request here a bit. In fact, everything should have a few more stacks of, especially the ones that are lower. A few more stacks of buffer here. Because 2 stacks of buffer is just not very much. Okay. So I don't know if that was the issue. The issue might just be that we're not making them fast enough. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have enough. And when we look at our rates, it does seem like we've had some dips in the last 10 hours, but I'm very curious why. Do you think we've been running out of Ralasia seeds? Yeah, that looks like the problem, actually. These are all running. Okay. 0.6 a second. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else I can do here other than switch to recipe 2 at some point. Ralasia 3 is forever away, so I can forget that exists. And for now, I guess Ralasia 2 is my only option to speed this up, which requires a rebuild to be a sushi belt. So rebuild Ralasia to sushi is now on my list. We beaconed all these, right? Yeah, these are beaconed. These would be nice to have tier 2 buildings as well for productivity reasons. And once these get upgraded, that'll be great. How's the auto mall doing? We are out of research center tier 1. Oh right, these are my allow list of things. So factory 1 needs to be on my allow list. Factory. I guess also turbine, because these feed on themselves, right? Feed on themselves, that sounds so terrible. Yeah, they do. And so do heat exchangers. Yeah. So those need to go in here. And so do gas power plants. Yep. But this is only going to matter if I'm upgrading them over time, which I'm kind of not. But and then atomizer. Okay. So why is this request? So how does this work? So okay, so red is the requests. So on red, we have an unmet request for research centers. +2. Then on green, green is measuring what we have locally. Okay, so that's a different thing. This one is reading Am I reading the wrong things? Hold on. Because we're supposed to be reading the requests on 1, right? Wait, now I've confused myself. So the idea is if we have it in the greater bot network, we want to bring it over here if we need it. That's the whole idea. So we're reading the contents of 0, and then this is measuring a green. Okay, so this is reading the contents of 0 on red and what we have on green locally. So this is saying what we have on red that we don't have on green, and then it's passing that on green. Then this is getting the red signal, which is just the wish list. So this is looking at our wish list. So it's comparing what do we have on green, which should include research centers now, right? I guess the question is, do I have research centers? I have 4 research centers somewhere. They got stored all the way over here. Okay, but we have them. That's the important part. So then, back to the auto mall. Those research centers are here. And they also are being requested, no? Or they're on the wish list, no? Oh, did I never put research centers on the wish list? Maybe that's the issue. Are there no research centers on the wish list? I really wish we could search this screen. Research centers on the wish list. I'm not seeing them. I might not have ever added them on. That could be why this isn't doing anything. Did I just handcraft them or something? Weird. I guess, but I had the auto mall by the time I built that new research station, right? It seems odd for me to have not added research center Mark 1 to anywhere. That's why I'm looking really carefully, because I feel like I would have. But I'm not finding it. So that leads me to believe I might not have done it. Okay. Alright, well, we'll add 2 to the list here, which then does work. It worked! Look, bots are bringing research centers here, and they'll get plopped in. Now, it's not going to be fast enough. We're going to make research centers here as well, but then we're going to end up with research centers in the storage for channel 1. Uh-oh, but we're also going to end up with research centers in here. But that'll cancel out. So we should be... This should work. It won't work on the first pass, but on future passes, when I replace research centers, it should use the ones from here. It should use these up first to fill up the need for the research center for the Mark II. That's the hope anyway. We'll see if it all ends up working out. We'll have to pay attention over time, but I think I did that correctly. And it'll work. Okay, so we are short on cotton buds. So cotton gut stage 2 is a couple researches away, and we will need to create Bodos. Fudge. There's no way that that's worth it. I mean, I could be wrong, but we'll look into it. The Mark II studs will be a big deal, though, so we definitely want that. And we need Renea, Grod, Cadaveric, and bedding and quality food, which we're good to go on. So we're good to go to make the Cotton Gut Stud Mark IIs. We will need a lot of DNA polymerase, though. Like a lot, because how many studs do I need to start this whole thing? I need 2 of them with a chance at failure. I love that. I love that. So fun. But it's a pretty small chance of failure. It's like, so the chance that we lose a stud is 50, and the chance that we fail to make pups is 30. So that's 15% chance of a failure. And then we need another stud. Yikes. That's high enough that I feel like it's going to happen to me. Otherwise, you're good to go from there. I mean, there's a tiny chance that you could fail from there. Like, let's say, so what could happen, worst case scenario where we don't totally fail, is you fail to get the stud back. So you only have 1 stud. And then you only get 3 pups out of it, which is the minimum. That's still enough to make 2 more studs, which then lands you at having 3 studs. From there, you'd have to fail twice in a row to lose, which is 15% of 15%, which is like 2%. So you're pretty guaranteed to, like, if you get 1 success, you're good to go. Technically, you could get a success and then fail from there, and then after your second success, you're basically, you know, talking percents that anything goes wrong. So all that to say, we do need cadaveric arum and a good amount of DNA polymerase built up, because that's going to be 200 rolls, 400 expected. So we're going to need 400 expected DNA polymerase, which we only have 100 built up. So I'm actually going to go to like 300 built up on that and just let that build up over time. And then I'm going to check out cotton butt stage 2 here and see how it actually kind of looks. Okay, so stage 1 here, we've built out about 0.7. So let's say we wanted to double that. So the Bodos cost is on the pups. Important distinction. I'm not really feeling like we're gonna need it. Because look, we only need 1 repro complex anyway. With the tier 2. What if we use, just for sake of argument so we can compare, what if we used the Mark 1 repro complex with Mark 1 cotton guts? 3.4. Okay, so we're about 4 times faster with tier 2 repro complexes. That's good to know. So that's a huge boost on repro complexes with no other changes. I don't need to use the other recipe. And then the recipe for, you know, pup stage 2 is doing what for me? I guess it might have a better ratio. So like if we matrix solve here, oh yeah, see, that was, I had forgotten to do that. Okay, so we're up to 10 of those and 2 repro complexes. Whereas if I do this, it cuts quite a bit down, 7.28. That is a pretty big difference. 0.3 bedding. So total bedding is 0.3 on this version versus 0.378. So it's a little bit more bedding. 0.3 food. A little bit more food, but not like a lot. It's only 20% more food and bedding. We do need some milk added in, but that's not very much, right? Um, 0.3. No, that is a lot of milk, I think. Matrix solver doesn't like me. Yeah, that's a lot of milk. Freaking thirsty cotton gut pups over here. Like, that's an absurd amount of milk, actually. Until we get better milk options, which, didn't we say that doesn't happen for a while? And those need Bodos as well. So, Corlex is probably just gonna have... And what's the Mark II Corlex? That's slightly better. Because fish and Tufra at those rates aren't crazy expensive, but I'm mainly worried about just the amount of ranches I need. When do I get Corlex stage 2? We can already make those, I think. Yeah. We need bioscaffolds. Pluripotent and xenogenic cells. It's kind of annoying, for sure. We're not rendering Corlexes, so I don't really care about those two. I guess we need Corlexes to roll for Corlexes. But then once I have 4 of them, it's just this recipe to get more. They're not cheap, though. And you need a lot of them per building. Yikes. Okay, that's all very expensive. Okay, and Bodos, as we've talked about, are not cheap. Like, these fuel cells are taking tons of iron niobium alloy, a medium amount of aramid, and lead antimony. And antimony is not cheap, lead is not cheap. Iron niobium, at least for now, like, that's, you know, that's a ton of iron for just 0.4 Bodos. That's 40 iron per Bodos. Now this one will make things a lot cheaper, because that's only like 5 iron. And I don't know how much niobium that is. Complex to plate ratio is about... Once we have the accurate numbers here. It's about 5 to 1. So back to Bodos. It's about 1 niobium plate per 0.4 Bodos. I guess 0.8 to 0.4. So about 2 niobium. And what is that? That's about 6 iron plates worth. So still about 10 iron or more per Bodos, but it's a better deal for sure. The lantimony, though, never gets cheaper. We looked into that a while ago. Lantimony is always pretty pricey. Interesting. Okay, well, when do we get Bodos Mark II? I was curious if we maybe got it in Chemsci, but we don't. So it's a long way away. Wait a second. The fuel rods are just burned as fuel. So... Oh, I was already looking at Bodos Culture Mark II with all of that. Oh, that's even worse. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. We're totally screwed. All right. So anything costing Bodos is kind of a no-nos. Unless it's really powerful. There's no way. Yeah, 0.2 Bodos for that. There's no way that's worth it. Plus the milk, we also said, is not worth it. We'd much rather spend... Well, and like I said, it's actually less food and bedding for this version. I guess the main difference is the seeds and the moondrop, maybe? Yeah, we save on Relasia seeds. We go from 5 a second, which is a lot, down to 1.5 Yotoi seeds. But even then, like, my brain's like, is that better or is that worse? I don't really know. Let's just throw a rough guesstimate on there. I mean, that's 8 Yotoi orchards making the fruit for the seeds there, versus the Ralasia, which is, I don't know. Yeah, 9. It's the same, roughly. So yeah, the pup recipe 2 is nice in terms of saving you Prandium Labs and repro complexes, but the Bodos are just not affordable at this stage of the game. So we'll stick with pup recipe 1 is the bottom line of all that. So the only thing to change here is that we move to cotton gut recipe 2 instead of 1. I assume is better here. I guess we could look at both though, given the first one's, the pup recipe's not better. So here we're talking, oh, it's not really that much faster. Hold on, but I got a matrix solve. It's not switching. Okay, so we're looking at 5.9, 2.3, tree seeds are free. And instead we switch out some of the Ralasia Moondrop costs. Wait, but these numbers are wrong. Hold on. So that one's at 1.4. This one needs to go higher. 190? 200? 195. Close enough. All right, so these are accurate numbers. So we need 16.4 labs on the lower tier recipe versus only 10 labs on the higher recipe. So how does this number change? I don't know. I guess these use a higher pup ratio. But yeah, the bedding and food, 2 for seeds. Are the 2 for seeds affordable here? Because it's not that different in terms of Ralasia seed. And Moondrop's in the same ballpark. And we already have 32 buildings, so 16.5 versus 10 is kind of the same. So really I should be asking, do I want to spend this amount of 2 for seed, bedding, and cotton gut food? Is that actually worth it? And when do I get the other bedding recipe? Whenever we want. Okay. So we'll just assume we're doing that one. These are so tricky to calculate everything. So many things to calculate. How much Yotoi is this? Let's assume recipe 2. Because I do get recipe 2 soon, right? No, we don't. I can't do Yotoi 2. Okay. Alright, so that's that. That's about 3 buildings. I do get orchard tier 2 though? Question mark. Yes. Okay. So I can at least do this. 66 Yotoi for that. That is nuts. Anyway, the cost is not massive here for the bedding. It's also not nothing though, as Cardex would say. I do get prod on this. Okay, so that's all put together, just the 2 for cost. There's also, or 2 for and bedding, I should say. That's not very much 2 for now. The cotton gut food, which gets prodded, is pretty small costs, except for the starch, but we're now making that the better way, which is pretty low, but that's still not no Ralasia, but 0.3 compared to the rest is small. Okay, so overall, I think what I mean is all of that worth it? when instead I could just have more moondrops and more buildings. I guess I need way more cotton gut studs for that. That's the difference here. Is we're talking a few hundred more cotton gut stud Mark IIs. And they ain't cheap. Actually, are they cheap? I don't remember what they cost. Yeah, they're pretty cheap. In the long run. Wait, no, that's just half of it though. What's the other half of it? Yeah, that's not bad. 2 for seed, quality food, and the quality food, you know, we can prod and everything. I don't know. You know, 1,000 of those over the course of the next 100 hours is nothing, so it doesn't really matter. Because 100 hour, you know, if you think about per second, 1,000 objects over the course of 100 hours is 0.003 of those objects per second. It's not even a percent of the cost per second. Anyway, all this to say, I will look at the moondrop, but I think I actually prefer recipe 1 over recipe 2. It's only 20% more Malaysia to use no bedding, use no cotton gut food, use no tufra, and it's about 30% more moondrops. And more space. That's it. That's the only downside. So, especially given moondrops are going to have probably a new recipe soon. Yeah, I can already do moondrop 3s whenever I want. I just need to research it. And we'll have tier 2 buildings. And even on moondrop 2, that's still only 9 buildings. Yeah, I don't really... Well, I guess it's more than that because of the seeds, but... Let's see, wait. This needs to go... How does this work? This needs to go under? Yeah, 80%, 60%. No, that's going the wrong direction. For 30, 150, 45. Okay. So that's, you know, it's fine. But again, we're looking at 10 of them versus 13 of them, so it's not that different. To save on all the other things, I think is worth it. And then the question is, how good is Moondrop 3 comparably? I haven't looked at that yet. And we haven't even done copper drops, right? Like, we could totally do copper drops, and I'm guessing this kind of gets absurd. Oh yeah, I mean, look at that. Moondrop 3, it's a lot of fertilizer, so I probably won't do it, but just because we've already got so much moondrop set up anyway, why spend extra when I could spend soil and hydrogen only? If I was building it fresh, I might be tempted, but I'm not. We already have like 50 moondrop facilities. Okay, well that was a good Helmod investigation. Yeah, these are still on recipe 1 as well, so we can add in the soil and hydrogen when I want to. So all we're gonna do to fix cotton guts, I guess, at least for now, maybe it'll change in a Pi 3 science or something, but for now, literally all I'm gonna do is upgrade the buildings to Mark II and the modules to Mark II. And I already have a ratio of 3 to 30. Is that about the right ratio? Yeah, that is about the right ratio. So then we can bump this up to 1.4 divided by 16.4 times 30. Divide by 3.113 times 3. So it'll be about this. We get about 2.5 cotton guts a second. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Cotton Gut 2 is a very good recipe. Not at this stage of the game, anyway. All of that was a nice distraction from being short on hot air. Let's investigate. Have we caught up at all? Yes, we have. We're at 562 versus 578. That's only a difference of 16 now. 1.6 or 0.16 million. Which means we are closing the gap on consumption versus production, which means some things are buffering, finally. Perfect. Okay, so we're probably only another hour or two away from being caught up on hot air. Goodness. That was a painful mistake. All right, and then next is... Why is science not running? Cotton guts is the answer. Okay. It just straight up is the answer. And... at least for now... might go 300 on this. Just make sure they don't stop running until we've really got a saturated belt. Yeah, these run full time. Shouldn't this be running until we have a certain amount of pups? Not a certain... I don't know what I'm doing anymore, to be honest. But I think that should run until there's a certain amount of pups, not a certain amount of cotton guts. Regardless, we are out of Ralasia seeds, so that is the issue here, specifically. For now, I'm gonna say... is there anything I can do about that? Not until we rebuild Ralasia. Okay. I guess we can do Ralasia Plantation Mark II with no difficulties once we've unlocked that. Okay, I mean, we're getting there. This is all a journey, isn't it? It's all a journey. Xenogenic cells we're making from chitin. That should be good for a while. We did realize we're going to need a lot of xenogenic cells, though. For, whatchamacallit? Let me put one of these right here. For one of the Mark II animals. I don't even remember which one it was. Was it Corlex? Was it Cotton Gut? I don't know. I looked at a lot. So I'm going to hook that in. It was Corlex. Yeah, it's per Corlex we need 100. So if I wanted like 1,000 Corlexes, we need 100,000 xenogenic cells. So I think it's good to start to stock up a bunch of these. All right, and then Automall is done. Cool. That means it's caught up with all this, which means I can prod all of these. Eventually I'll do these buildings. I guess I could do those now. And I will upgrade only 3 of each, because they get twice as fast. And for now, I'll just remove these 2. Until we get more supplies in the first place for science, I don't really think there's much point. And I will get rid of all my... I do want some complex circuits, but otherwise, I don't want any of those ingredients. Alright. And then I guess we need Gene Lab Mark II to get more cotton gut efficiency as well. Or incubator. I guess both. Incubator Mark II is already done, as well as Gene Lab. Okay, perfect. They're pricey, but I'll deal. All right, so then we need incubator. So this is going to be like creature-based stuff. Gene lab. 2. And then that means we need incubator mark 1. Here. And gene lab. Okay. And we already did atomizer. I guess we can throw microorganism mine on there too. So we're gonna need those soon. And those I need in slightly higher quantities, probably. I'll do 4. Okay. Do I have Botanical Nursery Tier 2 yet? I don't think I do. And Slaughterhouse Tier 2 we also have. So let's start making those. Alright, this is going to drain all of our Tier 2 building resources. We'll do like 4, I'll do 5 at a time. Yes. Yeah, this is kind of annoying to have to add signals in 2 places every time. I don't love that. Alright, well, I think we're going to call it an episode here. Our base is going to be crying for a while with everything I just did. Wow. Now trains are not running at all because science isn't running. It's crazy the knock-on effects that science has. Like, not running science, so much of the base shuts down. Though some of the base will wake back up because of what we're spending here. Brains? Are we still making brains? Yep, still making brains. About 100 a minute. I don't know where they're all going. Probably vat brains. We've made 136 in an hour. That's not very good. Though we did make a bunch in a row a while back. What's the request priority here? It is at -1, okay. So that means we should be getting brains for neuroprocessors first, right? Oh. No, I just broke that like an idiot. I remember what happened. We just didn't remember to get here in time. Okay, well, let's fix that, and then should help things a bit from being stuck forever. That is. I was wondering why it wasn't running for so long. We have found the answer to our question. Alright, so this is completely full of biosamples. Let's undo that. Actually, too many biosamples. I'm gonna need to ditch some of those. What does this even use biosamples for? It uses them for the... Okay, well, let's do this then. I can just put all of those manually into the neural processors. Alright. Okay, so those biosamples will get used up. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that now allows for brains to actually go to the neuroprocessors rather than not get into the chest. And I don't think there's anything else we need to do at the immediate moment. We've got lots of stuff on the to-do list over time. I'm slightly confused here. So this is actively saying deliver. Does that mean it's on the way, or is that what this is requesting? Because there's nothing here. I think that means there's a bot on the way with those items, right? Yes. Okay, good. Good. That's fine. And those will get here eventually. Okay, well, I mean, look, I think things are working the way they're supposed to be working in the auto mall for now. We'll see if that is really true or not, but seems like it's okay. We'll prod these to double, so now we've got 20% on all that. Yes, I do need to eventually handle automation packs, but that's a full rebuild, because this is a lot of steps. It'll save me a lot of resources, though, for sure. When we rebuild that to be, I don't even, how many per second are we gonna need? Probably a lot. Probably like 20 a second or something ridiculous. Maybe not 20 seconds. 10 a second? No, wait, how many? If I want one grouping a second, then yes, I will need 10 a second. But I'm not quite to that with Cam. But yeah, let's go with 10 as a theoretical. Just to kind of understand how crazy expensive this would be. Okay. So, it's an absurd amount of flora, for sure. A little bit helped along by speed module buildings and red belts, but that still is 15 flora collectors. Planter boxes. We want to prod. Small parts are going to also be prodded. Or no, they can't be. Wow, that's only one small parts building. We will be importing small parts. We will be importing empty planter boxes. Why did it do that? I don't understand. And we'll probably be importing logs rather than call-its. And that needs prod, and they all need a beacon. This one, though, is cheating, because that doesn't actually work. Okay, so this isn't... I mean, it's kind of crazy. That's a lot of tier 2 factories. That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh my gosh. Also kind of an absurd amount of ash. And soil and stone brick. The logs and iron I can deal with, and the small parts, but the stone, like, how do I get 40 a second stone brick? Am I gonna have to deal with it's 150 stone furnaces. Literally only one other option, which is rich clay and sand. How bad does that get? It's pretty bad too. Maybe. That's a bad recipe. It's not great either. That's definitely not it. That's not it. I don't know, man. This is gonna be rough no matter how we slice it, I think. We can prod this because this is on the faster end, so we should. And we can also prod these, but that might be a bad idea. It's probably easier to just make more ash. And have fewer buildings. Now we're talking 200 ash a second. I am going to have to figure out how to generate that much ash. Probably, I mean, burning raw coal. I don't know what's easier than that. It's so unfortunate, though. Because it just doesn't scale super great. But I don't know. I don't know how else we do it. You can turn biomass into ash, but look at how slow it is. You know, you need 1 building per ash per second. It's ridiculous. So, like, that's never going to be the solution. Not at scale, anyway. And these are all more to get rid of the other things than to create ash. This one makes a decent amount of ash, but it's nowhere near enough. And even that would be bad at scale. You know, we can't do 60 sap a second to make 200 ash a second. So, really just no great solutions for making high quantities of ash. Feels like that should be slightly... There should be a way that isn't just a million burners. I don't love that. I don't love that that's kind of the answer. If anyone knows of another way to make ash, feel free to leave a comment. But what I'm thinking here is it would just be steam in a burner, and that's it. And we fuel it with raw coal from a nearby patch because it's easy. But it's still 170 boilers, you know? But 170 boilers is not that big of a build compared to some other high buildings, I guess. There's just no other way to do this. Not reasonably. And as far as stacked red belts go, this is going to be only 2 stacked red belts once I stack to 4, so like that's not that bad. I guess now that I'm looking at this though, because this is also 57 sand, which, yeah, maybe I'm back on board with there was a reason we were making, whatchamacallit. There was a reason we were making stone bricks from stone before, and I think that reason is actually probably still holding true here. Because this is a lot of stone, yes, but it's not, we could, sand extracting here is not reasonable, right? Probably not. I mean, also prod it if we do foundries, but look at the 74 of them, like that's absurd. I probably will use thermal furnaces? Question? Gas furnaces require too much fuel, I think, unless they can be affected by beacons. If we can efficiency beacon them, I might use gas furnaces, but I doubt they can be. Thermal furnaces would be nice, but for right now, the only way I can make that heat would be with uranium fuel cells, which is a little sus. So I don't know about that. There are other ways to make thermal later, I think. Though it's not showing any of them to me. I thought we could make heat with solar as well, but do those use a different interface? They might use a different interface, or Helmod just doesn't have it. Anyway, I know I said we were going to be done with the episode. I've got plenty of time today, is why I've kind of ignored that, because I'm like, this is a fun rabbit hole. So 30 iron sticks a second. is quite a few. The alternative to this, obviously, is just mining them, which is pretty easy, but then we have to deal with 90 carriage in a second. So then the question becomes, how easy is it to deal with 90 carriage in a second? And do I want to make 150 stone furnaces? Oh my gosh, there's some crazy numbers going on here. Absolutely mad. So how do you deal with 90 carriage in? Not that way. So this is the only way. And there's no tier 2 retorter, and they don't have module slots. Are you serious? That's so annoying. That's really annoying. Okay. I hope you can beacon them. Can you beacon a retorter? I actually need to know this. One. Can you beacon a retorter? The answer is no. Yes, yes, you can. Okay, good. Beacons work. Okay. It's just the hell mod bug for now. Thinking that it doesn't work. So the way you fix that is you go to a different building and you hit play and it... Oh, that didn't work. Wow, it really didn't work. Okay, so we're gonna have to manually know in our heads that this adds 90% of 80 more speed, so that's 72% more. So we need about 10 retorters to deal with all that. That's not that bad, now that I say it. 10 retorters is better than the crazy let's use rich clay and sand situation for stone. So I think stone from this situation is still better. The only problem is actual stone patches. Like, are they big enough for this? Because if it's pulling 6,000 stone, you know, and mining prod means more like 4,000 stone a minute, that's a fourth of a million per hour. So in 10 hours, we're talking 2.4 million. So now we're talking like my stone patches are not going to last very long. This one over here is only going to last 100 hours. Jeez. Like, I'm going to need to find a bigger stone patch somewhere. Just not big enough. Wow. That's wild. Okay, new question. We're just riffing here. So instead of stone from the ground, what if I go back to the idea of stone from... because there's a lot of different ways to make stone. What if I... It's not going to be any of those ways. How crazy is this way? No prod on that, so that's pretty crazy. That seems bad. That's a lot of coal gas, a lot of lubricant, and a lot of drill heads. Which, like, sure, we can prod that. No, you can't prod that. Yeah, that's probably not worth it. I think I'd rather just do the sand extraction than that, which is what we're about to look at. So let's go back to sand extraction version. And we need 16 sand extractors. That is a lot, but then I don't need to deal with Keragen. And what if I just made them from iron plates made from like basic processed iron that we mined? So now we're using an iron patch instead of a stone patch. Does that make sense? It's pretty rough looking though. But it would work, and we're getting about a fourth of what we need already, so this would only be about 80%. Or 70, 75. 76. Yeah. So oh, sorry. That iron is unrelated. Okay, hold on. Okay. So for the actual number here, it's this. And this is what we want to be matching. Okay, hold on. That's screwed up our numbers here. Let's go to 80, 90. Okay, 88. Perfect. So this is actually what the numbers would be. To make 80 stone from basically nothing except iron, you actually get more than 1 stone per iron ore, first of all. Second of all, you do need some raw coal, but not as much as you'd think. 70 stone furnaces sounds like a lot, but doesn't take up that much room. And then if you're using the beacons, and these would have speed modules in them, you only need 5 jaw crushers for all of this. This isn't that bad. And now we can use an iron patch, which is better than a stone patch. And we don't have to deal with the Keratin. And we can just build this on site. And then we can ship out, obviously, stone and stone brick separately. Huh. Okay. That is compelling. Because iron ore patches are a lot bigger. Like 33 million, 49 million, 34 million. This one's 69 million. Maybe I shouldn't have built on top of that one. That's like the biggest one. This one's 52 million. So like, they're also more prevalent. We got a lot of them around. That one's at 32 million. So all that to say, given that that's 32 million and prod shows up at 2 steps. So once we have better buildings, we can prod even more of it. So you get more stone per iron. As well as mining productivity, of course, matters. Yeah, I don't know. This is somewhat reasonable to make huge amounts of stone and stone brick. This is somewhat reasonable. It feels crazy, but I don't know. I don't really know what else we can do. The last thing I wanted to look at was gas furnaces. I'm pretty sure they can't be speed beacon. But, you know, then again, I don't actually know that because whatchamacallits can be. Like Glassworks. So I need a power. Doesn't seem like it's being affected. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I was hopeful I could get efficiency going on these things, but no. All right, well, it's a little bit of a bust because I would need an absurd amount of fluid fuel to run all these. I just used the shale oil directly. I just need 400 a second. Use all the shale oil to make the stone bricks out of this stone. If there were tier 2 retorters and they had modules, this actually could be reasonable. It could be more reasonable at least. And then the stone patch size is the other issue. Yeah, this is kind of a crazy situation to make 10 automation science a minute or a second. It's kind of crazy. Wow. All right. Well, that was kind of fun to look at, though. We're going to call it an episode here. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.